Yes, okay. My name is Pam Thomas, nee King. I was a king. Born in Harwell at the park, and I'm one of 8 children. My father was the sexton of Harwell Church for most of his life, many years, and he was in the choir, Harwell Church choir, all of his life. He did many jobs to keep us 8, had to. We used to have a queue for men. We used to charge them 3pence, 3p to cut their hair. He used to sweep the chimneys, including these here. And 2 bob he used to charge. And he also snobbed shoes. Besides that, he organised all the graves to be dug and used things. So he worked very hard to keep us in food.
And he also lived in Harwell all his life?
Yes, can trace my family back to the 1500s here.
Right.
And Angela has done so. We have a big family tree.
And you've spent all your life in Harwell?
Oh yes. I was born here, and I spent a short while in Didcot because there was no houses in Harwell at that time, but I eventually came back. Actually, I came back to look after my mother because she got aged and couldn't look after herself.
So you spent all your childhood in Harwell?
Well, all my childhood, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. My first schoolmaster was a Mr. Paradise. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that about him before. He was the schoolmaster at our time, our young time.
Right. Was he the only master in the school, was that?
Yeah, I think it was mostly women besides that. The Hitchmans, the 2 Hitchman ladies, being Mabel and Frances, they were school teachers at the school.
Right. Right.
And they were my cousins.
So this, if you were born in 1928, you'd be talking about the school in the 1930s, really?
That's right, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. You've talked about your father. What did your mother do, apart from
looking after us
children?
Many jobs, cherry picking, picking up potatoes to get a few bob. Okay. We used to have to go and help her, all of us children, because she got paid for how many sacks of potatoes she picked up on that day. And we always had to go and help. And one of the other jobs we used to have to do, believe it or not, was get up very early in the morning and go and find mushrooms, wild mushrooms in the fields down the bottom of Jennings Lane. You know, there used to be fields all over there.
Yeah.
And she used to charge £1 a pound for fresh grown mushrooms. And that was another thing to keep us. But well, I'm told that they said that Harwell people lived on pheasant and rabbits and things like that. But they mainly poached, they thought. But they weren't really, because my father used to pay rent for the banks. He used to go and with ferrets and guns, and he rented the railway banks from Didcot to Blueberry to Churn at Blueberry, because there was a railway upon the Churn in those days. Yeah. So we lived on pheasant and rabbits and hares and, you know, pigeons as well. So we were fed very well for 8 of us, you know.
And you were talking about potatoes and you were talking about cherries. So the cherry orchards, obviously, at that stage were a lot more cherry orchards around.
Yeah, we used to have a big sale next door at the Crown every year, and people used to come and bid for the cherry orchards. They were never picked by the people who owned the orchards, I don't think. They were just, you know, they used to sell them and people used to come and pick them and take them off.
So they were sold on the trees, and then it was up to whoever bought them to get them picked.
Yes.
Yeah. But that would then have given your mother an opportunity to do
jobs,
cherry picking,
get some money.
And so on.
Always had to look for money, you know, to keep us. No handouts in those days.
And where did they grow the potatoes?
Along the Reading Road, you know, those trees, those fields along the Reading Road, you know, past the park. You go past the park, you pass by, but then all those fields were still open in them days. Right. And that's where we used to go and pick the potatoes up. I actually, when I was a young married woman with small children, I used to go cherry picking and had the misfortune to fall out of the tree and break my back. So my cherry picking days didn't last too long, but I did do it as a young married woman when I had 2 children. It was to go to get the holiday money.
Shall we talk about your childhood? What do you remember about being a child in Harwell?
Well, we were a really happy crowd of people in Harwell, I think, in those days. We used to have, on Whit Mondays, on Harwell Feast Day, we always had, the school always put the sports on for that day, and we used to have them at the rec, which, by the way, should be not called the recreation ground. It's supposed to be the Jubilee Fields, because my father and many others come back from the First World War, all gave a shilling to some charity, I don't recall who, and they bought that recreation ground, but they named it the Jubilee Fields. But I've never heard anybody ever call it the Jubilee Fields. I'm not sure if anybody knows, but that did happen.
But are you saying it was never called the Jubilee Fields, or the name has disappeared over
the
years?
The name seems that it's just disappeared. Yeah. It obviously was called the Jubilee Fields. Yeah. Well, my father couldn't have told me about it, could he?
Yeah, but even when you were young, people weren't calling it the Jubilee Fields.
No.
So it was quite a short-lived.
Yeah.
Short-lived. So you did that. You had school sports there, and so on. What about school itself?
We had very good schooling, I think. We all came away able to read, write, and, you know, add 2 and 2 together. You know, so we did have good teachers, good school teachers.
And this was at the school down School Lane?
Yes. Yeah. I don't remember the one opposite ever being a school, but I believe it was. But that was my school. Yeah. And Harwell School as such was, one of the other jobs my father did was we used to have to go, and we all, his children, took it in turns. Down the bottom of Jennings Lane, there is a well, and we used to have to take it in turns to go and pump the water from that well through to Harwell School for them to have water all the next day.
So they had a tank in the school, and you had to refill the tank?
Every day, every night, yeah.
And there was a rota for it?
In our family, yes.
In the family?
My brothers and sisters.
But what about the school as a whole?
Oh no, it was my father's job.
Oh,
it's a few more pence, I think.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. So, when you were at school, did you have a lot of leisure time and fun outside, or were you kind of at school or doing jobs?
We had the usual playground time out, and we could do what we wanted to. And there was no, I don't remember any school teachers watching us or at any time. You know, we were left to our own devices, and there was no such thing as school dinners. No, not in my day. We used to have to go home at dinner time, and I can remember one of the treats of my dinners when I was at school was my mother used to make dumpling mix, like you make to put in a stew, but she didn't used to put it in a stew. She used to put it in water, and then it used to cook, and then you had jam on it as opposed to gravy. Yeah.
Were there, if we come on to food a little bit, were there more food shops in the village when you were a child?
Oh, goodness gracious, I was counting them the other day. there were 3 butchers, 3 bakers, and 2 grocery shops. There was one named Miss Druitt, who everybody knows, and the Mitchells had a shop and a bakery. Then next to that was the old post office. That was kept by the Pryor family, who had the taxes in Didcot. Then we came up here, and there was Fosbury's, who was next to the hairdressers, and opposite was a Mr. Dudden, and he sold meat and fish. And then there was another shop round Wales Head, and that was kept by Mrs. G, I think. And you could go there at night, you're, a child, and look in at the bakery through the bakery window, you see the rats running around. So, it was good fun. And all the raft chaps used to come down. All the proceeds from that, what they made from those dances, was given to, when the soldiers came home on leave, they were all given a few bob. I can't remember. I wouldn't like to say how much they were given, but they were given some money for them to spend while they were on their leave. And that went on for some years. So we went to dances, we did the things other people do,
Yeah. Did you have family members in the war, the Second World War?
Yes, I did. I would really like to tell you about one of them, my brother Ken, who always lived in Harwell. He's dead now. In fact, all of my family except I are dead. 7 are dead, and I'm the only one left. He was in the Navy, and he went to Crete to try to get Crete back, and he was going in to the beach on a small craft to take the soldiers in, and his boat got hit. However, he got to the beach and was taken by the cretins, some cretins, up into Crete, and they kept him there for some long time. We thought our brother was reported missing, believed killed. Somebody tipped the Germans off, and they started shooting the villagers, so they gave themselves up, and he ended up in a prisoner of war camp. But the way we found out he was alive was unbelievable. We used to have a postman in the village, and everybody knew him as Titchy Cox. And I was laying in bed and it was in the summer. I can't remember exactly when, but I know it was in the summer because the sun was shining into my bedroom. I can remember hearing this noise coming round the Cleve, from Lickett Road round to here. And he was shouting, "Get up, you kings! Get up, you kings!" And I thought, goodness, what's happened? And I got down, and it was a letter we'd received from my brother from Stargate V. It had got through by the Red Cross.
And the postman knew what it was.
Yeah. Yes, he did, and he was trying to tell us.
Yeah.
And that's one of the wonderful things.
So he got back in the end.
All my family managed to get back.
Yeah.
My elder brother was in the paratroop regiment, 6th paratroop regiment, and he jumped the Rhine. He was, he jumped the Rhine. And I had another brother in the Navy. He did lots of overseas service, but he was all right. In fact, all of the family, with the exception of 2, were in the forces. I went into the Wrens. I think, if I can blow my trumpet just once, I think there was only 2 actually Harwellians that joined the forces during the war, and that was Dr. Rice's granddaughter and I, and we both went in the Wrens.
Only 2 Harwell women is what you're saying.
Yes.